The Odyssey, the greatest adventure ever told a man, wins one of history's greatest wars. Everyone celebrates. Kings return home. Soldiers reunite with their families. But for one warrior, the real battle is only beginning. A journey that should have taken a few weeks turns into an impossible voyage lasting 10 years. Along the way, he will face monsters that can crush ships, witches who can turn men into animals, deadly creatures whose voices no sailor can resist, and even the anger of the gods themselves. This is the story of Odysseus, a legend that has survived for nearly 3,000 years and inspired countless books, games, and movies. And now, it's capturing the world's attention once again with a brand new Hollywood adaptation. So, what makes the Odyssey one of the greatest stories ever told? Let's find out. The hero who was different, unlike many legendary heroes, Odysseus wasn't the strongest warrior. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't even considered unbeatable. His greatest weapon was something much more powerful: his mind. Odysseus was the King of Ithaca, a small Greek kingdom. When the Trojan War broke out, he joined the Greek army and fought for 10 long years. According to legend, it was Odysseus who came up with the famous idea of the Trojan horse, a giant wooden horse that allowed the Greeks to secretly enter the city of Troy and finally win the war. The battle was over. Victory belonged to Greece. Everyone believed the hardest part was behind them. They couldn't have been more wrong. A journey that became a nightmare after leaving Troy, Odysseus and his men set sail for home. But the sea had other plans. The god Poseidon, ruler of the oceans, became furious with Odysseus. From that moment onward, every wave seemed determined to stop him. Violent storms destroyed his ships. His crew became lost. Every island brought a new danger. Every victory was followed by another disaster. The closer he came to home, the farther it seemed to drift away. The monster with one eye, one of the most famous moments in the story, comes when Odysseus and his men enter the cave of the terrifying Cyclops Polyphemus. At first, the cave appears empty. Then, the giant returns. He seals the entrance with a massive boulder and begins eating Odysseus's men. Escape seems impossible, but instead of fighting with brute strength, Odysseus uses intelligence. He tricks the Cyclops, gets him drunk, blinds him, and escapes beneath the bellies of sheep. It becomes one of the greatest examples of using brains instead of strength. But this victory comes with a terrible price. The Cyclops is the son of Poseidon, and from that moment, the sea god vows revenge. The temptations along the way Odysseus's journey isn't just filled with monsters, it's filled with temptations. He meets Circe, a powerful sorceress who transforms his men into pigs. He sails past the Sirens, whose beautiful songs lure sailors to their deaths. Knowing he wants to hear their voices but survive, Odysseus orders his crew to plug their ears with wax and tie him tightly to the ship's mast. No matter how much he begs, no one is allowed to untie him. It's one of the most unforgettable scenes in ancient literature, because sometimes the greatest danger isn't a monster, it's giving in to temptation. The cost of never giving up. As the years pass, Odysseus loses almost everything. His ships, his friends, his soldiers. One by one, the people who began the journey with him disappear. Eventually, he is left completely alone. Yet he refuses to surrender. No matter how many times life knocks him down, he keeps moving toward home. That determination is what makes his story timeless. The home he barely recognized, after 20 years away, 10 years at war, and 10 years lost at sea, Odysseus finally reaches Ithaca. But home has changed. Many believe he is dead. Powerful men are trying to marry his wife Penelope and take over his kingdom. Even his own son has grown up without him. Disguised as an ordinary beggar, Odysseus quietly enters his palace. He watches. He waits, and when the time is right, he reveals who he truly is. In one final battle, he defeats the men who tried to steal his home and is finally reunited with his family. The journey is over, but the legend has only begun. Why is everyone talking about the Odyssey again? Nearly 3,000 years after it was written, the Odyssey is once again making headlines. That's because acclaimed director Christopher Nolan is bringing this legendary story to the big screen, with a brand new adaptation featuring an all-star cast. Fans across social media are excited because Nolan is known for turning epic stories into unforgettable cinematic experiences. Many believe this could become one of the biggest and most visually spectacular films ever made, and perhaps that's fitting, because stories like the Odyssey were never meant to fade away. They were meant to be told again and again to every new generation. The Odyssey isn't really a story about monsters. It isn't about magic. And it isn't even about war. At its heart, it's about perseverance. About refusing to give up when life keeps pushing you backwards. About staying true to your purpose, even when the road seems impossible. That's why this ancient tale still speaks to us after thousands of years. Because every one of us is on our own journey, facing our own storms, our own temptations, our own impossible challenges. And maybe the real lesson of the Odyssey is that no matter how long the journey takes, the people who never stop moving forward eventually find their way home. If you enjoyed this legendary story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it, because next time, we'll uncover another incredible tale from history that still shapes our world today. Until then, stay curious,